Welcome to episode 6. Today we are going to be talking about how to find your passion, how to be fulfilled in what you're doing in life, and all that other stuff that people our age are concerned about, especially during this time. Welcome to the Power of Will podcast, where two athlete turned entrepreneurs aim to inspire people to evolve their mindset, define their goals, and accomplish their version of success.
If you're an entrepreneur, a person building a brand, or someone aiming to live life with intention, this podcast will give you the weekly motivation you need to take action.
I'm Donovan Barrett.
And I'm Sam Marie Morris, and let's go ahead and get right into this week's episode. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm really excited to do episode 6, and I love that we're still on the video podcast. We had a lot more views than I thought we'd have on our last podcast.
Yeah, especially since we literally started it from scratch, and I think we just posted about it once, and you guys showed up and showed out. So thank you so much.
Definitely. Okay, so let's start off with our 5 gratefuls. I'm going to start first because I'm really grateful today.
Good.
My first grateful is new projects. Last week, especially, I got really excited about some new projects that I essentially just have been wanting to do for a while, and I finally got the guts to do them. So just grateful for new projects.
I love that. I am grateful for jump rope, which is something that I've picked up recently.
I've been seeing on your TikTok.
It's been a savior for me. I can't, it's my favorite way to exercise.
Oh. I'm also really grateful for my house because it's something that I worked on really hard over the past year, just saving up for it and then moving in. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to just have a little home that's mine that I'm kind of building as I go.
I'm still waiting for my check because I feel like I was a cooperating realtor on that transaction.
You definitely were.
And then my other grateful is FaceTime. And I mean, it's something that is so maybe small that we all have, but just the idea that when you miss someone, you can call them and see their face and interact. That's the whole way that Sammy and I are able to be friends living on 2 different parts of the country. And yesterday I FaceTimed one of my friends who I haven't seen in a couple months. And it was just really nice getting to see him, speak to him, and actually have face-to-face contact. It's about as close to real interaction as it gets.
Yeah, I love that. Especially right now during COVID, it's needed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, my last grateful is cozy sweaters and jackets because it's probably not that cold in Florida, but here we've been getting snow in Utah. And I love just when I thought about this, I was wearing my you can't see it, but a nice just warm jacket. And yeah, they just make me feel so cuddled and cozy, and I love that about winter.
That's the thing, is that even though in Florida we don't get cold, everybody still will look for any excuse to wear a hoodie. I wear hoodies often inside just for that reason, because I just want to feel loved and snugged up and cared for.
All right, so topic of today is how to find what you love. I feel like everybody's, very concerned about finding this, figuring out what you love to do and then doing that as your life's work. So I know that I've kind of come across it in different ways, as I chose, what to do after high school and during college. And then once I graduated from college, it's been a constant theme in my mind. How do you feel about it?
I think it's something. I think a big problem that people have is they think they're going to find this one thing and that's all they're going to want to do. And I think and we'll go into this a little bit later, but I think it's something that evolves and changes at while you do. So I think the focus is less on finding the one thing you want to do and just kind of taking steps towards a direction and seeing where it takes you.
For sure. So first question is, what is passion? So what does passion mean to you?
I think passion means to me when you wake up and maybe you're not excited to do anything, that when you think about that one thing that you really enjoy, it gets you up out of bed and makes you want to start your day and do something. I think that's what passion is. It's having the drive to want to succeed in something even when maybe you don't feel like it for that day. It's that thing that gets you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, I'd mostly agree. Passion to me is things that, yeah, when it's a thing that's always calling your name. It's always in your mind, just working at itself. Different things that I've been passionate over the years, Taekwondo, I remember even when I was exhausted, I'd always be watching fights, if my body needed to rest, it'd still always be in my brain. So I knew that I was like passionate about it just because of how much I cared about it. And it's well, like something that I wanted to like, I don't know, just like really do. So even after Taekwondo, I was really excited about like, working in my social media career. And I found out that was another one of my passions because I always wanted to look for different ways of like, how can I learn more? How can I create more? How can I be better at this? So it's just like this real desire and need to just like work on this. That's what I kind of figure out my passions are from.
Yeah, I feel like it's that thing like that you just can't stop thinking about. Like I know for me, there's been so when I was still in like wow, I was in high school when I was posting on social media. That's crazy. But I remember when I was still in high school and like I was at be in my classes and like they were talking about geometry or something. And like all I could think about was like, oh, like I have this idea for a YouTube video and like that's what I want to do and I want to go create it. And I would just space out. Like it's just that thing that gets you super pumped. So how can we like recognize it? Like, is it like what does it feel like? And how do we know whether it's passion that's kind of, I guess, maybe short term? Like, because I think everyone gets like short spurts of something that seems exciting, but like, how do you differentiate between something that's like, oh, like I get really excited about this for like a day, and something that is just like kind of oh, I'm willing to put the effort in to grow this passion and like actually like make it into something?
I think that it comes down to like the why of why you're doing it. At least for me, that's kind of what helps me recognize it, because if it's something that I want to do, like no, I can't think of any examples, but just like I have to know like my reasons as to why I want to accomplish this thing or why I care about it. So that's kind of where I backtrack. And so, for example, I said like Taekwondo was something that I was really passionate about. And my why behind it wasn't because I wanted to go, like win a medal, but it was because I loved how I felt when I was doing it. I loved how I felt like I could grow, how I felt like I could become something else that was kind of bigger than just me. I think, yeah, taking it back to the why is how I recognize it.
Something you said that like I really want to expand on is how like when you enjoy doing it, it's not like, because like for example, I would love to be a super talented painter, right? And like I wish when I see people who can paint really well, I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. But when it comes down to like actually putting down into putting the work in, I don't enjoy painting. Like and like I recognize that, and like I had to realize like just because something is interesting to me doesn't mean it's something that I personally am passionate about. I think something like when you're actually passionate about something long term, you, like you said, you enjoy when you're doing it. Like you enjoy the work. Like you're not just excited about like, oh, where you
The end result. Yeah.
yeah, the end result. You're excited to like get up. Like right now, like I've been exercising like crazy, and like it's not like I know like yes, I'm losing weight and everything, but like that's not what gets me out of bed. Like I get out of bed because I'm like I'm gonna know that I'm gonna feel so good and get that euphoric like feeling when I go
Yeah.
exercise.
So, yeah, I really like that because as I'm thinking about it, it's like something that I love to do. That I wouldn't say I'm like passionate about, but something that I really enjoy doing is like singing. And like you had been with me like through karaoke nights, and I love having karaoke nights. And just like it's something fun to do, but it's not something that I care about. So yeah, put the work in to make me like, a really good singer, just because like that's not my passion, that's not where it's at. But do I love to do it? Yes. Am I going to have karaoke nights and just like have a blast with them? Yes. But that is the difference between passion and something that you just enjoy doing.
Yeah, and I think like I feel like a lot of people think that when you're passionate about something, it has to be like your lifelong career, or like it has to be like a career at all or whatever. Like passion can just be something that you enjoy. Like you're just like excited to do something. Like I think in the world of like social media and influencers and whatnot, we feel like we have to publicize everything we're passionate about, and we have to show it off to the world and like almost claim it, if that makes sense. But it's okay to be passionate about something and literally do it just out of enjoyment and like never
Right.
seek any like financial or any kind of gain from it.
For sure. Okay, so that kind of covers like what is passion and how we recognize it. One difference that we've kind of touched on is like temporary versus long-term passions. And you kind of talked about just like, yeah, it doesn't have to be like for your whole life. So do you want to explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I think like your passions are going to change as you get going. Like when I was 18, 19, 20, all I cared about was how high my kicks were. That's literally the only thing that mattered to me. But now, like, as I'm 24, like, I found myself, like, I stopped working out for probably like a year or two. Like, I mean, I would work out, but not consistently, like really going after, like working toward a goal. So I realized it was like, because I think like my passions have expanded outside of that initial thing. Like, yeah, that's just a thing I enjoy, but like, I think it's important to like let your passions evolve and change and grow bigger, because now I'm like, I want to be super strong and be able to do handstands, and I want to be able to jump rope like crazy, and I want to be able to learn wushu and do stuff like that. So it's like, you have to, I think it's important to like check in with yourself and like make sure. I don't think any passion is forever, at least in the way that it existed originally. Like, I think martial arts will always be a passion of mine, but I think what I want, like what I do within martial arts and where my passion within it is, will change and evolve, and it
Yeah.
has.
I agree. Because I agree. I was also super passionate about competing in Taekwondo. I made that my 24/7 thing for a good amount of years. And I still feel very passionate about Taekwondo and the benefits it can bring you, or, like through teaching it, being an instructor, being an athlete, all the different parts of it. It'll always be in my life and it's always a passion. But kind of like what you said, it also led me to something different. So just because you're passionate about one thing for some time, that can open up new doors to something else. Like, that's how I found social media, and I don't know where this is going to take me, but I'm going to give it my all and just, like let it kind of shape my life to wherever it is that I need to end up, or just like go through the journey. So yeah, it might be temporary, it might be long term, it might change and evolve, or like figure out how it works into your life. But yeah, I think your passions really matter. So it does take some paying attention and cultivating to like have them.
Yeah, and I think we need to normalize like not feeling like we have to be trapped in what was once our passion for the rest of our lives. Like, I feel like our generation and Gen Z are like better at that, like, but I feel like, especially like with older generations, that you find your thing, like you stick to it, and that's what you do until you retire. And it's
Yeah,
just
like
like,
you have a job for like 50 years. And I'm
yeah,
like,
and
what?
I I don't have the same job for 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's kind of like short term versus long term passion. I think you do need kind of like a balance of both. I
For sure.
think all passions to an extent are, in the grand scheme of things, are short term, but like I think there's like an umbrella, and then there's like small passions underneath that, and the umbrella may always be there long term, but like the things underneath it will change.
Yeah. Guess what?
What?
It's time for a digital impact moment.
That's your favorite section.
It totally is. Okay, so digital impact moment. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, we basically just pick something that we like, watch, listen to, something digital. Yeah, some kind of content that really just like made us stop and think like, wow, like that's something I want to remember in like life, or just like, just made an impactful moment.
Yeah, it's something that hits you and makes you think or inspires you.
So what is yours for this week?
I threw my phone away so I wouldn't be distracted, and then I didn't have my
I
digital
know
self.
I'm looking mine up right now too.
We're prepared. We're professional podcasters. Um, but no, I can tell you that this person inspired me. Like, I've been talking about this whole jump rope thing like throughout this entire episode. And this is the person that inspired me to do it. My friend Jonathan actually sent me a video of this girl's TikTok. And then I went and I followed her on Instagram. She followed me back, and like I've been talking to her a little bit. But her Instagram is S_, I really hope I don't butcher this, Abdel Hadi.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You want to like show
basically,
it on the screen?
oh yeah, we're on video. So
So
this is her Instagram,
cute.
and she basically is like very much about like empowering people, and she's just like has these crazy like jump rope things that she can do that like
And
I
she's
hope
doing
to
it
be.
with a mask. I love her for that.
Yeah, and yeah, she's practicing safety in the gym, staying socially distant, and she's just like a really inspiring person, not because she's like so good at jump rope, but she actually started her jump rope after she had ACL surgery. So
Oh,
she started literally only being able to jump on one leg. Like, so she was just like hobbling along on one leg, and now she can just like do all these crazy things. And I'm like, oh, I want to be able to do that. So that literally is what started me on my jump rope journey, and I have not stopped. Like, it's all I want to do. Whenever I feel like bored or sad or anything, I'm like, I'm going to go take my jump rope and I'm going to go jump until I feel better.
I love that. It's so fun to find something like that. Okay, so for my digital impact moment, it's I'm also gonna show it on the screen. It's just like a little Instagram post. By the way, if you aren't watching our podcast on YouTube, check it out because then you can like see us showing these things. But mine is about affirmations, and I actually finished reading a book this week called Conversations with God. And it's funny because like I saw this Instagram post and then I read something very similar in the book. So I'm like, okay, like obviously this message is trying to get to me. And pretty much what it says is instead of repeating a positive affirmation, ask yourself, how can I act out this affirmation? How can I embody this affirmation? How can I live this affirmation? And how can I experience this affirmation? So it's something like I know everyone's, like trying to work on affirmations right now in the morning, especially, but it's a difference between how you say it versus how you actually like live it. And if you actually put it effect into your life, because if you're just saying the words, that's not going to do anything. You have to actually like think about it, incorporate it into your life. And it was just like a really good call out to me for that.
Yeah, I think like that's the thing. Like, it kind of sounds like the law of attraction a little bit. It's like, what you put out in the universe comes back. But I think people mistake that. And like, if you just say every day, like, oh, I'm going to have $1,000,000, but like, then you just sit in bed all day. Like, that's like my understanding of the law of attraction is like, you're supposed to basically act as if that is your lifestyle. Like that is what you are. Like you are that thing. And then like the universe kind of meets you there, if that makes sense. I actually saw something similar to that. It was actually about like the speaking part of it though. It was saying like, how people will be like, I can't wait until I have this, or I can't wait until I have this. Like it was a TikTok and it was basically saying like that you're basically not going to get it because you're telling the universe, whatever, that you can't wait for it.
Right.
So then
You're
it's not.
putting that into your mind in that way.
Yeah. So it says like, instead replace it with like, I'm so excited for this, like you know what I mean? Something like that. So I find it interesting, and I totally believe in stuff like that. Like I find that when I'm in the right spot and I just am like telling myself like, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, and I just go for it full on, like things happen.
Oh yeah, like I feel like that's how I've been able to accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Like literally anything. It's because I truly believed in it, and it just took work in getting my mind there, and then it happened. So
And I think there's a difference. Like there's like kind of like we were talking about earlier with like, there's things that you wish you were good at, but like you don't really want to put the work in. It's like, there have been times like on social media where I've wanted to rebrand to something, but like it wasn't really me. Whereas like now I'm kind of like going through a transition, but it doesn't feel like I'm intentionally going through a transition. It just is kind of happening. Like I'm just kind of doing like what feels right. And like that's taking me there. And I think that's an important distinction.
definitely. Okay, so section 3, tips for finding what you're passionate about. Can I go first?
Of course.
Okay, so how to find what you're passionate about. I would say one of them is try and do like lots of different things. Because something that like they have you do in like college is figure out like everyone's like, what's your major? Like, what are you focusing on? But it took me forever to graduate like from my undergrad. And I really appreciate that because I took the time to take like a bunch of different classes that I wanted to learn stuff about. Like I took acting classes, I took a hip hop class, I took a public speaking class, and I was like in school for engineering, right? And then I ended up graduating in marketing. So I just think it's like, yeah, try lots of different things. And then naturally, the things that you care about and that you're actually passionate about, you're going to find yourself wanting to do more of those things.
Absolutely. That was literally going to be like, that needs to be the first. If anything is like, people are too afraid to try things. And if you don't try, like you will never find anything. Like you're not going to find your passion sitting on the internet.
No.
Well, unless
Well,
you're
maybe.
doing something on the internet, like you're doing something productive on the internet. But no, for sure. I think another thing is like practice self-awareness, like become really aware of who you are. Spend some time with yourself and figure out like what makes you, what makes you excited, not from a hobby standpoint, but like what kind of things fulfill you. Like, for example, I like helping people. Like that's always when I feel the best. So, there's not a career that's just called helping people, but I know that that's a core value that I have and that I want to do in whatever I do. So I think I think you should write down like maybe 3 words that you would use to describe yourself, and then like reach out to some friends and come out with like 3 words that they would use to describe you. And then that'll kind of give you like a decent sense of who you are to yourself and who you are to other people. And then you can kind of find like hobbies or things that fit into those values.
I like that. My next one would be let go of fear, because I feel like a lot of times you might think like, because I'm not like great at this thing, that can't be my passion. So you kind of have to let go of that kind of fear. You have to let go of fearing like what other people will think, if you will ever be good enough, all of those things that can hold you back from your passion. Yeah, just let them go. Try it, see where it takes you.
Absolutely. And my last tip going right off of that is to be patient, because like anything that's worth having or anything big, like it takes time to build, especially people who are in their 20s, or I mean, like you're so much younger than you think you are. Like you either, like most people who seem like they have it all together by the time they're 24, they later go and have a midlife crisis because they actually just did something to like conform to societal standards. That's not always the case, obviously, but like it's very common.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you were to just take those extra few years to like just build and not care what other people think about you, then you would be in a place where you're one, happy, and very well off.
Yeah. I like that a lot because, yeah, I feel like a lot of people do things just because they get like praise from other people saying that they're doing the right thing or succeeding in the right way.
Yeah.
My last one would be take time to also just like kind of quiet your mind or still your mind. I do this a lot when I just get like overwhelmed, or when there's like 100 different things I want to do and it's just like too many things that I want to do and I have to pick which ones. Pretty much I just take time to let my mind be on its own and literally just like do nothing, because naturally I'll see like, oh, these are the things that I actually want to do, because those are the ones that are coming up more that I feel like I'm missing, rather than being just overwhelmed with all the hundreds of things. So just take time to let your mind figure it out, figure out the emotions, figure out desires, things like that.
Yeah, don't try to force it either, because like it won't work. So before we wrap up, I have a question for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Is passion enough? If someone loves something enough and is willing to channel that passion into all the hard work in the world, is that enough to make it?
And to make it like how?
Let's say someone wants to make it their career, they want to make it like what they do for a living, is being just, and because like, I think passion leads up to many things, because if you're passionate enough, like you'll form the right connections, you'll create the right opportunities, you'll be consistent, you'll do
You'll
all
do what
things
it takes, even if it's like something you're scared of doing or don't think you can do, for sure.
right. So is passion enough to you, like real long-term passion?
I would say yes, for sure, especially because I've seen so many people turn things into like an actual successful career, which I never would like have been able to see or like connect the dots. I just never would have imagined. And I see them like doing it, loving it, and being successful at it. So I'm going to say like definitely. It just, you really have to want it and put in the work for it.
I agree. Like I think passion is enough in that long-term sense. If it's just like, oh, I think this is really cool and I want to do it, and then you work on it for a day and then you don't do it anymore, then were you really that passionate in the first place?
Yeah,
But
or
like,
it can just be like a hobby. It doesn't actually turn
yeah,
into a career. Yeah.
which is fine. Like you need those too. But like if you're truly passionate about something and you want to take it all the way, then I think that that passion will take you to all of the things that are required to make it.
Yeah. I think that's, yeah, a great note. I like that ending question.
I threw that on her. She didn't know it was
We didn't
coming.
know anything.
But thank you guys so much for listening or watching episode 6 of the Power of Will podcast. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, we'd love for you to leave us a review. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can get that in the description or in the show notes if you're watching on a streaming platform. And feel free to email us. Like if you have something you want us to talk about or you need advice on something, you can email us at thepowerofwillpodcast@gmail.com.
All right, guys. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in. Bye.